yummy. I haven't even made it.
That's why they're saying it looks yummy.
Yeah, we haven't made it yet.
Yeah, but there's a picture of it. It does look quite nice.
That might just be a random thing though. Oh, no, refresh.
Oh, hello everyone. Welcome to Friday Night Curry Club. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm never really sure when I'm actually live or not, so forgive me. I hope everybody's good. I hope everyone's well. I hope everyone's excited. It's Friday and almost the weekend. A big cheers because it's Friday and we get to ease ourselves into the weekend. I hope everyone's happy. I hope you're good. Thank you for joining me. It's always lovely to have so many of you join me. As always, let me know where you are dialing in from. Let me know if you're cooking. Let me know if you're just watching. We've already had a few comments, so I know there's people from New Zealand. Who was the lady? Ali from New Zealand. Wow, it's 5 o'clock in the morning there. And you have joined us, so thank you. Lovely to have you join us. And we've also got
Gail from California.
Hi, Gail from California. Wow, lovely to have you join us. I hope the weather's lovely for you. As always, say hello. Let me know where you are in the world. Let me know if you're cooking. Let me know if you're just watching. And say hello. Ask your questions. This is your opportunity to get as much information out of me as possible. So please do ask as many questions and let me know how you're getting on if you are cooking. So today we are going to make, there's been a few comments over the past few weeks that we haven't done a veggie dish. So I'm going to do a veggie dish today and we're going to use paneer, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about paneer. Before I start going into the cooking, I'll talk you through everything that I've got laid out here. But before I launch into all of that, I like to say a quick sort of hello to as many people as I possibly can. So if you are tapping away, just do say hello and I will give as many of you a shout out as I possibly can. So we got people saying hello.
Darren from Bedfordshire who's cooking.
Hi Darren from Bedfordshire, lovely to have you cooking with us.
We've got Kirsten saying hola from Portugal.
Hi Kirsten from Portugal, amazing to have you join. Are you a first time joiner? Are you someone who's joined me before? Let me know if you're a first timer as well, so you know what to expect.
Someone from Canada, someone from Barbados.
So we've got someone from Barbados, amazing, and we've got some Canadians joining us as well. Thank you. Hello guys.
Brian from Chicago, Kevin from
Hello
Michigan.
Brian from Chicago and Kevin from Michigan. We've got our usual US guys. Amazing to have you join. Thank you so much.
B from the Dominican again.
Hi B from Dominican. Lovely to have you come back. Amazing.
Agnes from Hungary.
Agnes from Hungary. Now, I've mentioned this before, Hungarian goulash. I'm all over it. I want to know if you've got a really good recipe, share it with me. Please, please, please share it with me.
Tread the Globe.
Hi guys, how are you doing? Tread the Globe. Lovely to have you join us. Amazing. I have been watching your amazing journey and it's just so beautiful. Some of the photographs that you've taken and some of the places that you're eating. Amazing. Thank you for joining. Lovely to have you here. Who else have we got?
Kirsten has said she's seen your videos before but not done a live.
Hi Kirsten, welcome if it's your first live. Amazing to have you.
Someone from Slovenia, Jill from Dorking.
Jill from Dorking, just up the road. Lovely to have you join as well. Amazing. Are you cooking? Are you watching? Are you just checking out what's going on?
Wendy said she's been here every week and has learnt so much.
Wow, Wendy, amazing that you've joined every single week, and I'm loving the fact that you feel like you're learning stuff, because that's what it's all about. For me, it's just about sharing a bit of knowledge and hopefully giving you some ideas and ways to cook up some great dishes at home. Okay, so welcome everyone. Amazing to have so many people, and it's just lovely to have so many people from across the whole globe join in just for an hour. So if this is your first Friday Night Curry Club, basically we get together on a Friday at this time every week, And it started off really just to get you, give you some ideas for stuff that you could do during lockdown and this horrible time that we're all going through. But hopefully we'll keep going and we're going to carry on. It's still very much about giving you some ideas for dishes and food that you can cook at home that's going to be really tasty, really fresh, homemade, and hopefully it's an opportunity for you to ask me questions if there's certain things, and it doesn't specifically have to be about this dish, but if there's certain questions that you want to ask, I'm here, so I'm here to help you. So basically the way that the Friday Night Curry Club works is on a Wednesday, I will put out the recipe that we are going to cook, and I will put it on Instagram. I'll put it on my app. So if you haven't got my app, please do download it. I also share that information on, where else do I share it? Facebook, and all my social media platforms. So I'll put the recipe that we're going to be cooking out there on a Wednesday. Hopefully that gives you time to go out and do the shopping and the bits and pieces that you need. And then on a Friday, we all get together at 6:15 and we all cook together. Over that Wednesday to Friday, if you've got any questions, please ask me. The best way is probably through the app or Instagram. Just ask me whatever questions you might have and I hopefully will be able to answer them. What I also try to do, so I've had a lot of people saying, oh, we want to do vegetarian dishes or vegan dishes. I always try to give you other options of ways that you can tweak the recipe so that it suits you and your family. So if you are a vegetarian, I will always give you vegetarian options, or vice versa. For example, today we're cooking vegetarian, we're cooking 2 vegetarian dishes, but I know a lot of people have said that they're not fans of paneer, which is fine, or they'd like to do a meat dish, so I've made suggestions about other things that you can do. So you can chuck some chicken into this one, which will be just as good. Okay.
Mike has said, hi Harry, big shout out for your daughter who seems to be producing the show, and very well done.
So thank you, Mike, for acknowledging that. Yeah, my daughter sits in the background and she taps away and she answers questions that she can do, or she'll share them with me. But yeah, we've got a team. It's my daughter and my husband and my son who sort of mill around in the background and do things. So thank you for acknowledging them. They are part of the team.
Wendy's asked, can you use tofu in place of paneer?
So now keep those questions coming in. If there's stuff that you want to ask, please do shout. So yes, if you want to use tofu, you can use tofu rather than paneer. You can use halloumi rather than paneer. You can just use vegetables if you don't want to have anything of that texture. Or you can, as I said in the messages that I put out there, if you want to do a meat version of this, chicken is a great option to substitute out. So paneer, for those of you who don't know what paneer is, I'm assuming the guys that are cooking have been out there, and I've had lots of questions over the week just about where can you get paneer, and I know a lot of supermarkets in the UK do now sell paneer. Paneer is basically full fat milk that has had an acid added to it, so that could be vinegar, it could be lemon juice, and what happens is that milk then splits and you get the curds and you get the whey. So paneer is just that, the solid bit. You just drain that out and you put it through a muslin and you squish it and you compact it and you draw all the moisture out of it. And what you end up with is this stuff, which is almost like, so this is bought, this isn't homemade. You end up with this sort of, the only way to describe it is it's squeaky cheese, but it's very similar in texture to halloumi. The only difference is that it doesn't really have any flavour. So it's more about the sauce that you put it in and the ingredients that you put with it that will give the dish its flavour. It's more about texture. If you are using halloumi, please be aware that obviously halloumi is very, very salty. So just be careful when you are seasoning your dish today, and also when you're adding any soy, because you don't want to make it too salty. So just bear that in mind. For those of you who are using chicken, I know there's a few of you that have asked questions over the week. This is an amazing dish to do with chicken because it just works really, really well. So if you've not heard of chili chicken, it is very much a Indian style dish. What you can do is you can do exactly the same process as we're doing with the paneer, and that will give you some really nice crispy pieces of chicken. If you do not want to deep fry your chicken, that's fine too. So rather than coating it in the batter, just miss that stage out and we'll just add the chicken to the sauce once we've got it in the pan. Is that clear?
Mr. G said, is it good on toast?
Hello, Mr. G. All Indian food is good on toast, right? Yeah. Lovely to have you join us. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so is that quite a good overview of what we're doing? If you've got any questions, keep them coming in. Let me know if I've not made anything clear. As I say, now is your opportunity to ask whatever you want to ask me. Okay, so chili paneer. It stems from very much a Chinese dish. So in India, there is a massive, huge love of Chinese food. There's a big Chinese community out there as well. But because of the borders and all of that, Indian people love Chinese food, but they have made their own sort of tweaks and changes to it. So they've adopted, as India always does, it adopts all of these different cultures and different food styles, and it just tweaks it and makes it its own, really. So this is very much Chinese influence, which is where the soy sauce and all of those ingredients come into it. But what they've done is they've added their own little twist with the spices and so on. So I think it's a really lovely dish, and it's quite nice. I love how food sort of travels the world and comes together. Okay, so we're going to start cooking. I'm going to stop gassing on like I always do. Right, so if I just talk you through what we've got here. So obviously I've got my paneer, which I've talked to you about. I've got a red pepper. I've got some garlic cloves, which I've peeled. And I've got my green chillies. I've got a red onion. I've got my ginger. I've got my masala dabba, which has got my 7 spices in there. We won't be using a lot of them today, actually, because this is a slightly different style of dish. Got my salt, which I always have, and in here I've got my Kashmiri chilies. So Kashmiri chilies are these beautiful, quite scary looking chilies, but they're not actually that hot. They're very small, really beautiful in colour, and they're quite vibrant. And what I've done is I've been soaking them in this hot water just to soften them, and this is what we're going to use to make our paste. And the paste that we're going to make is it's a chili and ginger paste. Quite similar if you want to cheat to Sriracha. So you could use Sriracha instead of making this paste, but I think making the paste is much nicer. So I've just let those soak because I want them to soften, because when I blitz them, I want them to almost create a paste rather than a powder looking for.
Steve Belfast has asked, what's the difference between ordinary chili powder and ordinary chili powder?
The question is, what's the difference between chili powder and ordinary powder? Chili powder comes in lots and lots of different varieties. Chili powder is down to the chilies that are put into that chili powder. My chili powder of choice is Kashmiri chili powder, and I've talked about this before, and the reason for that is that these are Kashmiri chilies. They come from the Kashmir region. They are big red chilies. They're quite mild in their flavour, but what they have is a beautiful, vibrant colour to them. So if I show you my chili powder, look at that. So that's the colour. So when you have dishes such as Rogan Josh, tandoori chicken, anything like that, this is and that's probably the reason that I love them. Obviously there are lots and lots of different types of chili powder out there, and it depends what you're cooking. So if you're wanting a hot chili powder, if you're wanting something smoky, all of that kind of stuff, it really depends on the region that you're cooking the dish from, but that's my chili powder of choice, and that's why I tend to use it.
Can you use red chilies fresh?
You can use red chilies fresh, absolutely. Yep.
I think she means for this dish.
Oh, for this dish, you You probably won't get the vibrancy of the colour as much, but you can. So red chilies are going to be probably quite hot, so it depends on the type of chili that you're using. These are going to give a really lovely colour, they're going to give a warmth, they're not going to give an overriding real sort of hot heat, which is why we're sort of using these. Okay, so we are going to get organised. So the other thing that I've got is this in here. So I've got some flour, which is just all-purpose plain flour. So I've got about 3 tablespoons of that in here, and I've got a tablespoon of corn flour or corn starch, and into that I'm just going to add some chili powder as well. And this is for the batter for the paneer. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt in there, just give that a mix through. So if you're cooking, this is what we want to be doing. This is the first bit of what we want to do. So we just mix up that there. I'm just going to pop that to one side, and I'm going to get my paneer ready. I'm going to cut these into chunks. Now, if you have made your own paneer, I did put a video up of how you make your own paneer, because I know there's a lot of you that can't get it in the areas that you live in. So I hope that was really helpful for you. When you make paneer fresh at home, it does have a much nicer flavour. I didn't get round to doing it, so this is a bought paneer. When you make paneer at home, it's much more fragile, it's much more delicate, it's quite flaky. So make sure you put lots of pressure on it and draw out all of the moisture as much as you can. You can leave it to hang overnight as well. Okay, so there's my paneer, and I've chopped it up into, and you can make these any size that you like, but I've sort of chopped them up to that sort of little cube size. And then in my bowl here, I'm going to add some water. We're just going to make quite a thickish batter. Just mix it in. And here is sour water, a little bit of chili powder, and I'll show you the chili powder, or the effect that the chili powder has. It almost turns it almost orangey pink, and that's what, so you wouldn't really get that from a different kind of chili powder. You'll get that from Kashmiri, but if I show you, I suppose this bowl isn't going to help because look, it's that lovely pinky orangey colour. Can you see? Okay, so we've made that, and into that I'm going to add my paneer. So just pop your paneer into there, and I'm just going to let that sit on the side for a while. So just separate them all out and just coat them.
Someone's asked, can you confirm the cooking temperature for gulab jamun?
Oh, gulab jamun again, bane of my life. Oh, 150 to 160 degrees C when you're cooking gulab jamun. They are super, super tricky to make. Gulab jamun are an Indian sweet. They're essentially like Indian donuts. And we all know donuts are, again, very, very tricky to make because you've got to get that temperature right. Otherwise, you will have balls of dough that are raw in the middle and burnt on the outside. So 150 to 160 degrees C for gulab jamun.
Maria from Moscow has asked, she said, I want to ask about the previous recipe.
Yep.
When you use coconut oil, is it refined or not?
So mine is the one that I use is it's the first press one. So I always try and go for a really natural product if I can. Ideally, I would go for something like that. Right, I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Can you see in there? So that's my paneer. I'm just going to let that sit to one side because we're going to fry these in a minute. Does that answer your question about the oil? Right. Okay, so next we're going to make our sauce, which is the chili sauce. So all I'm going to do, somebody was asking me earlier about my blender. So this is just, if it helps, it's a Cuisinart spice and nut grinder. And I just like it because you can take the two sort of cups off it and you can interchange them. So into here, I'm going to add my chilies, which have been soaking. I am also putting in a little bit of that water that they've been soaking in, just to help create that paste. And then my ginger. I've got a really lovely fresh piece of ginger here. I'm not going to take the skin off. I've washed it and I'm just going to chop it up and pop that in as well. And hopefully, when you see how easy this bit is, you'll do this for other recipes, because just a really easy chili sauce like this as a dip or something is just amazing. So I'm just going to add a little bit more ginger.
Maggie has asked about last week's lamb. Is it alright using tomatoes and cast iron? She's seasoned her Gari.
Oh, I think you asked me this, didn't you? I'm sorry I didn't reply. I think I did hear somebody, or I did read a comment about, can you use tomatoes in a Gari? I do. My Gari has been seasoned till, you know, it's been used so often, it's been seasoned. So if you season it, there shouldn't be any problem with using those ingredients. The whole point of using something cast iron like that is that it's versatile and you can use it in lots of different ways and add lots of things to it. The only thing that I would say to you is when you cook in a Gari like this, don't then leave your food in there, because the iron will, it changes, it makes it a little bit darker in colour. So once your dish is cooked, I would decant it and put it into either another pan, or if you're ready to eat it, but don't leave it in there for a long time. Does that help? Sorry, I do remember a question popping up and I never got round to answering it, so my apologies. Okay, so our paneer is sat here. I'm going to move that over here so you can see it. And I've just put my chilies and a little bit of the chili water and my ginger into this nut grinder, and I'm just going to blitz it. What we want to end up with is a really smooth paste. Now, when you take the lid off, be careful. Don't take the lid off and breathe in, because all of those chilies will catch the back of your throat. All right, give it a little. I'm going to add a little bit more water, because I can see just needs a bit more moisture. How are we doing? Is everybody with me who's cooking? I want to know how your chili sauce is looking. One thing I didn't say actually at the beginning is, if you are cooking with me, or even if you're watching, take some pictures and share them with me. It's just really nice to see how many people are cooking along. Oh, it's looking good. I'm going to put a little bit more water in, because there's still lots of seeds in there which I want to break down. See, when you join me for a cook along, there's none of this. Here's one I made earlier. If it's going to go wrong, it will go wrong. Oh, it's looking really good. Oh. Now when you blend this at the beginning, it won't look very colourful. It won't have that vibrancy. The longer you blitz it for, you'll start to see that colour come through, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I mean. Almost there. How are we doing? Are you guys done?
They're alright. Johnny said he's going a bit slow. So
You're going a bit slow?
is your wok sold in the shop?
Say that again?
Is your wok sold in your shop?
My Gari, we are looking to get a few of the Gari and the tawa, which is the griddle pan. We are looking to get some of those into the shop very, very soon. So I will let you know as soon as we've got them. So keep an eye out.
Did you take the stalks off the chilli, or did you blitz everything?
So I took the stalks off the chilli when I was soaking them, just because you don't really want those hard bits in there because they can be quite stalky. So I took those off when I was soaking it. Right, I'm going to show you the inside of this.
Someone's asked, where's your drink, Harry?
My drink? I have a drink. I definitely have a drink. It's Friday, I'm allowed a drink. So it's there. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like. And I hope you'll be able to see just how vibrant and beautiful. So look at, can you see that colour? Look at that. So that is just my chilli and ginger in there. That's it. But look how red and beautiful that is. It's amazing. That's how easy it is to make a chilli sauce. Now if you wanted to, I've got a few chilli sauce recipes actually on the website. But if you wanted to do that, you could put some vinegar in there, you could put a bit of salt in there, you know, you can jazz it up in so many different ways.
What else do you use your grinder for?
What else do I use my grinder for? So I use this to make chutneys, I use it to make spice blends, I use it to make marinades sometimes, anything really, and everything. So rapeseed oil is my oil of choice. That is what I tend to use all the time, and it's a virgin rapeseed oil, so it's the first press from virgin oil. Right, so there we go. That's beautiful. I'm really happy with that. Right, so once you've got your chilli sauce, make sure you get every little last bit of it. Don't want to waste any, so I'm scraping it off the lid and I'm just going to pop that to one side. And for those of you who are chilli heads, have a little taste, see what you think. Tell me what you think. Okay, right, so I'm going to pop that to one side. I will need that later on. I'm going to get rid of this as well. I'm going to have a little drink, and then we're going to get prepping on all of our other bits and pieces. So is everybody still with me first and foremost? Is everyone in, are we all together? Give me a shout, let me know. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to prep all of my other ingredients. So we've got the paneer ready. I'm not going to cook that yet because obviously the way that we're doing the session today, I need to make sure that we do that at the end so that it's nice and hot for you to go off and have your Friday night dinner. But before we do that, I'm just going to get everything else prepped. So I've got my peppers, I've got my onion that I'm going to chop up, and I'm going to put some chilies in there. So my garlic, first of all, I'm just going to slice it because I like a bit of texture in this dish. If you want to, you can mince it and you can chop it up nice and finely, but I'm just going to have some nice little slices going in, and I'm using, I think that was four on one little one. I love a bit of garlic, so and it works really well in this dish. Okay, so there's my garlic chopped and ready to go. That's going to there. And then my onion. Now, because this is quite a quick cook, it is a good idea to get everything ready beforehand. Now, with your onions, you can have slices if you prefer. If you don't like big chunky pieces of onion, just have slices. But I'm going to have fairly chunky pieces going in. Just pop that to one side. I get a little bowl out actually, just so that I'm not getting, there we go. So that's my, just take some of this out, I've got a little bit of garlic. So garlic stays there. And then my pepper, I'm going to have this nice and chunky as well. Now, oh, God, move that over there, it's quite pokey. With pepper, I get asked this quite a lot. So the best way to chop, or the easiest way to chop a pepper, hold it like this. You can take a little bit off. All you want to do is just go down the sides. So you've got almost like a cheek there, and then you just go down each side. And before you know it, that goes in the bin. You don't need to mess around taking the middle out. You don't need to push it in or anything. And you've got all the seeds out and all the pith is gone. So easy, yeah? A little trick I learnt in one of the restaurants I worked in from a very well-known chef. There we go. So that goes in there. So my pepper is done. I've got my paneer there. I've got my chilli. Let's get rid of those. So chilli, we are going to put some green chilli in there. I know that we've got a chilli paste, but we're going to put some chilli in there for colour, but also a little bit of oomph. But I'm going to have these nice and long, and these are going to go in towards the end. So I've got one there. I'm going to put this one in as well. Slice nice and nicely down the length. And coming back to the whole chili thing, if you don't want your food to be all that hot, you can take those seeds out. I tend not to, but you can, if you want to, take those seeds out. Okay, everyone's still with me?
Say hello to Kaushik.
Hi Kaushik again, lovely to have you join. Thank you for joining me, it's lovely to see you. How's your week been? Let me know how things have been. I hope you've been having a good week and things have been fun. Okay. So we've pretty much got everything ready. I'm just going to pop my pan on. All we're going to do is a little bit of oil in the pan. I'm going to put some cumin seeds in there. When they get lovely and fragrant, I'm going to add my garlic. And we're just going to saute that very, very gently. We want a little bit of colour, but we don't want it to burn. So be very, very vigilant when you're doing this. Garlic can burn very quickly. If that happens, it will become bitter and not very pleasant. Once that's gone in there, we've got a little bit of colour on there. We are then going to add our chilli paste. Now, when you put your chilli paste in, please be aware that that's chilli and ginger in there, and it's going to hit that heat and you are going to get these vapours coming off it, so it will catch the back of your throat. Also, the other thing to just bear in mind is that when you put it in there, it will splutter. So if you haven't got an apron on, I suggest you go and put one on because it will cover you. So just be careful and be a little bit mindful about that. Once that paste goes in, we're just going to saute that off. We need to cook that ginger that's in there. We need to cook that down. We need to cook all of those flavours in. And then we'll be adding the onion and we'll be adding our peppers. And then once that's cooked down, I'm just going to put that to one side and we're going to move on to make our Bogoria, because as I said, I want to finish this dish. We need to fry our paneer off, but I'm going to do that at the same time and then bring it back and reheat it. I hope that is clear. If not, just follow me and we will get there, I promise you. So a little bit of oil goes into my pan. I'm just going to grab my spoon. First thing I'm going to do is a nice teaspoon of cumin seeds. Now, I'm going to ask you again, why are we doing this? Why am I putting my spices into that heat? What is the purpose? I'm sure we've talked about this before, but it'd be really nice for you guys to tell me, what is the purpose of doing this? Why am I putting my spices in there right at the beginning? So hopefully when they hit the oil, you'll see them bubbling, you'll see them sizzling. And what you should get from them when they are ready is you will get that lovely warming cumin aromatic. Once you get that, you know you're ready to go in with your next ingredient. So if you burn your spices at this stage, throw them away and start again. There's nothing worse than burnt spices. They will add bitterness and you cannot get rid of that bitter flavour. So be very, very mindful at this stage. So all you're looking for, as soon as you can smell it, then you're ready to go in with your next ingredient.
So we've got some people saying infuse the oil, give flavour to the oil. Some people said bring out the flavour. Others have said release aromatic.
Okay, so the whole purpose of toasting your spices at the very, very beginning, your whole spices, is because you are wanting to release the natural oils that are in those spices. The whole point of releasing those natural oils in the spices is that they will become nice and potent. They will become deeper in their aromatics, and those aromatics will be released into the food. So that is why we tend to use whole spices at the beginning of the cooking process and not at a later stage. It is all about getting the aromatics into the dish that you're wanting to cook. So these spices, these whole spices that you use at the start of your dish, they give you your base flavour. That is your base aromatic that is going into that dish, and it can vary depending on what dish you're cooking. Okay, so my cumin is done and my garlic is starting to get a bit of colour to it. Can you see? It's just starting to get a bit of colour to it. So I'm going to go in with my paste. Now, as I said, be very careful, guys. Now, when you put that in there, you will start to see, as it cooks, the oil will separate out. And that's what we want to happen. But it will also become amazingly fragrant. I don't want to lose all of that stuff that I've got in there, so I'm just going to swill it out with a little bit of water. Not a lot, just a little bit, and that's also going to help the veg cook in a minute as well. But before you add that in, just make sure you cook your chili sauce down. And what you will see is that the oil separates out and it becomes that beautiful, vibrant colour. And it should smell really quite... So is everybody still with me? Right. Can you see? How that was cooked down? Hasn't taken much, but it should be really vibrant in its colour.
Sue's asked, what colour onions do I want if I'm doing a zucchini chicken?
Oh, you're doing it. What colour onions do you want? I just think brown onions would be fine for a zucchini.
Dark or golden, I think, if she's talked about cooking.
Oh, in terms of when you're cooking them down, you want them to be nice and dark. Zakuti chicken is a dark, beautiful, rich, amazing dish. So get those onions as dark as you possibly can. Yep. So you opted for the zakuti rather than the chicken. That's okay. One of my favourites actually is zakuti chicken. Okay, so I'm now going to just tip in, only because I don't want to lose all of that amazing flavour and chilli that's in there. That's looking yum. Right, I'm going to rinse this out because I need this in a little while. It's looking yum. So, guys, if you are cooking, take some pictures. Let me see what it looks like. Oh. Okay, so into that then, I'm going to add my onions. I am going to give that a little stir. And I'm also going to add my peppers. Well, I'm going to give it a couple of minutes actually. Just let the onions cook down a little bit. Just use your spoon and just give them a little, just break them down. Not break them down, but separate them. Okay, is everyone still with me? I'm not hearing very much chit chat from you guys. Lovely. Oh, smells amazing. Is everyone still with me? Do I need to slow down?
Susie from says she's cooking a Viennese goulash in the Indian style.
A Viennese goulash with an Indian style. Now, please take a photo. I want to know what you've done, Susie. Take a photo, share it with me on the app. I'd love to see that. Sounds pretty impressive. Okay, so oh, they look good. So my onions are just starting to cook down a little bit. I'm going to add my peppers as well. Give that a little stir.
Are you on a high heat?
So I'm on a fairly high heat because I just want those onions to cook down.
How do you talk about your pan?
What do we want to say about my pan? Is there
Someone
a question?
said, oh, that's a really roomy pan. Talk about it.
It is a very roomy pan. I talk about, every time I use this pan, we seem to get people asking more about it. So this is what I would call a chef's pan, and there are a number of pans that I think you should have. A good chef's pan, a nice wide chef's pan like that is worth its weight in gold, because you can do all kinds of things in here, from sauces to curries to rice, anything like that. It's nice and wide. It's got quite a bit of depth to it, so it's well worth it, I would say.
How high is your flame?
So my flame is on very, very high at the moment, only because I know we're going to turn this down and I'm going to pop it to one side while we get on with the other things. I just want to cook my peppers down a little bit more. Let that do what it needs to do. My paneer is looking good. So if you are doing chicken, we can fry your chicken in the same way as we're going to do the paneer, or what you could do, if you didn't want to deep fry your chicken, you could add your chicken in and let that start cooking and just turn it down onto a low heat and let that simmer away. There we go. So into that, I'm also now going to add my sliced chillies and just give them a little bit of time to cook. And if I show you, you might feel that it's a bit of a dry pan, but that's okay, because it is essentially like a bit of an Indian. Oh, let me just come back. Let me see. There you go. You see that? Beautiful. Now, if you wanted to, you could add some French beans into there. You could add some mange tout. Anything like that would work really well in this. But we're going...
Which oil are you using?
So I've got rapeseed oil again that I'm using in here, which is pretty standard for me. That's what I tend to use. Okay. So that essentially is this bit done. And I'm just going to turn that off and I'm going to pop it to the side while we move on to some of the other dishes that we're doing. So I'm just going to pop that over there.
Someone's just said, I'm guessing dried chilies have a pretty long shelf life. I have some that are a couple of years old. Is that too old?
Dried chilies, they will be okay. Generally, they'll be all right to use. The only way that you're really going to know if they are any good is by using them or trying them. It's really hard for me to say, oh yeah, they're going to be okay or they're not going to be okay, because it depends on how they've been stored. I would suggest, if you like, if it's chili that you quite like, then maybe give it a go, try it, see how it pans out. Otherwise, get rid of it and maybe get some new ones. It is a tricky thing to do. Throw sort of food away. I can't bear it. Those of you who know me know that I have a bit of an issue with food being thrown away. Anyway, okay. So when we come back to our chili paneer, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of soy sauce to it. Probably going to add a little splash of water, and then we're going to add our paneer that we've fried as well. So all of that's going to go in, and then we're going to garnish it with some coriander and some amazing spring onions. So that is when we come to finish that dish off. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move my Gari.
Do you use enamel-coated Le Creuset pans for many things?
So I don't like the enamel-coated Le Creuset pans. I tend to use the ones that are uncoated. I just feel that they just give a better flavour. They're just a nicer pan, and mine tend to be the uncoated ones. So if you can get them, amazing. They are quite difficult to get hold of. So just bear that in mind. Okay, right. Is everyone still? Oh, I've got more questions.
What is paneer?
Paneer. So we did talk about this earlier, but welcome if you've just joined. So what is paneer? Paneer is, so the way that it's normally described is it's an Indian cottage cheese. The way that it's made is just full fat milk that is brought up to temperature. So just before it boils, you then add an acid to it. So that could be lemon juice, it could be vinegar, it could be white vinegar. And what happens is that the milk then separates, so you get your curds and your whey. The curd, you then sieve that out, and the solid, you then squish through a muslin, and you put a bit of weight on it, and you just squish all of the moisture out of it, and it's that solid bit. And that is what paneer is. So paneer won't melt, so it's not like a cheese. The only thing that I'll come back to is it's very similar to halloumi, but without that salty flavour. It's actually quite flavourless. It's more about that texture. So that's what it sort of, I've chopped it up, that's what it looks like, and it's just in a little bit of a batter there. Okay, so are you all still with me? We're going to make some Bogoria. I love Bogoria. They are one of my favourite things in the whole world. Who knows what a Pagar is? Come back to me. Tell me what you think a Pagar is. And we can go from there. Okay, we're going to make some veggie Pagar. And all I've got here is a bowl. I've got an onion. I've got a potato. I've got some ginger. I've got some chillies, and I got a courgette. So somebody on the app, it wasn't Gabby, who was it? Somebody on the app had a whole glut of courgettes, which is what you get this time of year. Zucchini, courgette, whatever you want to call it. and the question was, what do I do with them? There's so many of them, how can I use them? So I thought, actually, I'm going to show you how to make some Bogoria with them, because they are delicious.
Jill said, deep fried snack.
So Bogoria are a deep fried snack. They are fried in a chickpea batter. So we make a chickpea batter with it and we put loads of veg in there and then we deep fry them and they are just amazing. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So first things first, onion. If you go to a takeaway, you'll know them as onion bhajis, but that's when they have much more of the batter. So it's more about the batter than it is the vegetables. A pakora is more from the North India, where it's more like a tempura, but it's very, very similar in that you use gram flour and you use all of those spices that go in there. So with your onion, first of all, nice and thin. Can
you pre-mix the batter?
So it's really, really important. That's a really good question about can you pre-mix the batter. The simple answer is no. What you can do is you can make the batter, you can get your veg ready and have them separate. As soon as you put your vegetables into that batter, what starts to happen is that the batter will start to draw the moisture out of the vegetables. And if you leave it in there for a long time, that moisture just starts to come away, and when you deep fry them, the batter will not stick to the vegetables and you just end up with floaty bits of batter and bits of veg. So whenever you make Bogoria, do it at the last minute. It takes seconds. They take literally seconds to make. I can remember as a kid, we'd get people come round just randomly to the house, and my mum would go into the kitchen and she'd come back with these Bogoria made, and it just looks...
She said, oh no, I've got some pre-mix waiting for me, can I rescue it?
Have you put your veg in there?
I think probably.
If you've put your veg in there, right, what you might want to do is put a little bit more gram flour in it, just to help thicken it a little bit, and that might help. So try that, but ideally just keep everything separate until you're ready to cook.
Someone said, can you make paneer Bogoria?
You can make paneer Bogoria. There's a recipe on the website for making. You can make Bogoria out of anything. You get some really crusty bread, and you can make paneer. Really crusty bread. You can make bread Bogoria. Literally anything you can make Bogoria out of, and it's delicious. Okay, so I've got in my bowl here. I've sliced up my onion. I'm going to put in 2 chillies. Sorry, I'm sort of jiggling things around. I'm just going to peel a potato as well. I'm just going to have to do it on the side here. Not very organised, but hey ho, welcome to my kitchen. So I'm just going to peel this potato. As I said earlier when I was chopping up the onion, ideally you want to chop up your veg so it's as fine as you can get it, because then it will cook much more quickly. My courgette here I have washed already, and I've got this lovely little gadget, and I'm just going to slice strips of it straight into my bowl.
Someone said in Scotland they do haggis Bogoria.
They do. So I was up in, where was I? Up in Glasgow it was last year. I went to a food festival, and I very much enjoyed the haggis Bogoria that I had with champagne actually, and they were delicious. So yeah, I know you Scots folk love your Bogoria, and that's really cool. So if I show you this lovely little gadget, if you've not seen one of these before, it's essentially a peeler, but what it does is it just shreds everything. It's really quick and easy to do, but it's brilliant, really, really brilliant, especially for a dish like this. So there you go. So in here I've got my onion, I've got my courgette, and I'm going to just do my potato as well. So I'm just doing exactly the same thing. With Bogoria, you can make them just with onions. You don't have to put veg in there. You could just make them with onions. You can just make them with potatoes. If you go onto the website and obviously on the app, there are, I don't know, 3 or 4, 5 different types of Bogoria, from squid to prawn Bogoria to, I can't even remember, pea and, I think I've got a pea and courgette fritter type thing, but essentially is Pagar as well. So there's lots and lots of different things that you can do, but they are really good little starters, great little snacks. You just need to make sure you've got a really good chutney to go with them, which we're going to do as well. Okay, so in here I've got my chilies, I've got my veg. I'm just going to break up that onion a little bit so that it all gets mixed up. Right, are you guys still with me? Okay, look at that. Yum. Right, I'm going to add some, I've got some chopped up coriander that I did earlier. That's going in. Now this is the kind of great food we like, because it is literally just chuck everything in a bowl, mix it up and then cook it. Super easy.
The girl who pre-mixed her, she's asked if more veg will help.
How's it looking? Is yours the best way to find out about how you do it is, if you've got your oil ready, I would put a little bit in there. If it's still binding, you might be okay. Just put a little bit more flour into the mixture and then just try and deep fry one and see how it comes out. Take a photo and you can share it with me later, and hopefully I'll be able to give you some advice, but I've got my fingers crossed that it'll be all right. Okay, so into here then, we're going to start to add our spices. And as I said, as soon as you start to add your spices, the moisture will start to come through. It's quite runny, yeah. See, that's what happens because it's drawn that moisture out of the vegetables. Put some more flour in there. Put some more flour in there. Try and thicken it up a little bit. The other thing you can do is also put a little bit of corn flour in there if that helps. And then just squish it all together and see if that holds. Give that a go and we'll come back to me and tell me. Okay, so into here I'm going to add, I've got probably 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds, as they are. I'm going to put some fenugreek or some methi in there.
Are there any veg combinations that don't work?
In this, so people say to me all the time that they've made them with carrots and sweet potato and all of that kind of thing, which is fine, but for me, carrots just don't feel like the right sort of thing that would work in this. Aubergine works amazingly well. Aubergine Bogoria are delicious, I have to say. So I just put some chili powder in there. I'm also going to add just a little touch of turmeric, not a lot, just a little touch. And then I'm going to add some salt.
Debbie said Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts Bogoria, well, do you know what? You could shred them up, because spinach Bogoria are amazing as well. So you could add spinach and Brussels sprouts. That would work. That sounds good to me, Debbie. Okay, and then the other thing I'm going to do is ginger. Grate some ginger in. Now, if you notice, all that we've done at the moment is just put the veg in. We haven't gone anywhere near the flour. Now, what a lot of people do when they make Bogoria is they will make a batter with the flour and water and then put their veg into that. That is just going to give you a really messy dough, essentially. Not a dough, but a really messy batter. What you want is that. Okay, so everything is in there. Looking really colourful, really vibrant. And then this is where you need to clear your space, get yourself a little bit organised, and this is where your hands go in. So we're going to start to mix that up. We want to break up all of those onions and we want to start to mix our veg in and just get it coated with all of those lovely aromatic spices that you've just put in there. So look, yeah, you're starting to get a bit of colour. Yeah. Oh, smells amazing. I'm getting hungry. Make sure you break up those chunky bits of onion. Right. Start getting a little bit chefy. Throw it up in the air. That's it. Now, as you start to do this, you will start to feel that moisture coming out. I can feel it already. There's liquid coming out of this. So this is when it's really important that you keep your veg separate until you are ready to cook them. Okay.
Did you put fennel in?
No fennel in this one. You don't need fennel in this one. You can, I mean, if you like fennel, there's absolutely, you can do it. You can put it in, but you don't need to. Okay, so I'm going by eye. I'm not really sure how much to put in. A little bit more.
She just needs to use it up.
Yeah, if you want to use your fennel and you've got some in there, absolutely. If you like the flavour, then by all means you can put it in. Okay, now, when your flour goes in, what you want to do, and listen. Oh, actually, listen. I've got the microphone here. You hear that? That's what you want. You want that moisture squishing through your fingers. I'm going to put a little bit more in. Now, a pakora is about the vegetables. It's not about the dough. It's not about the flour. It's more about the vegetables. So the vegetables need to stand out. What you don't want is a... No, I'm good for the minute. Okay, right. Look at that. Okay, so it's thick, but it's all coated. Now what I would do is just with your other hand, take a little tiny bit of batter and taste it. So I know now that that seasoning, it's fine. It's got a kick to it. It's got that heat. What I would always urge you is to have a dish that you are going to deep fry these in and bring them out of. So I've got some kitchen roll lined in here. I've got a slotted spoon. The best way to test if your oil is hot enough is by literally adding a tiny little bit in. And what should happen is it sinks, it bubbles, and it comes straight back to the top. So you know that you're ready to go in with your ingredients. Okay, you might want to bring the camera over a little bit so that you can see. So with these, because we've got these beautiful stringy bits of courgette, I'm going to put them in so that we've got lovely long stringy bits. So I'm just going to pop that in with my hand very carefully, pushing away from me so that it doesn't splash on me. Lovely little now don't overload your Gari. Just let them come together a little bit.
What heat?
Oil. Let's have a look, shall we? So I'm going to tell you the temperature of the oil right now. Now this is starting to cool down a little bit. So that's 130 that is, and that's simmering away. Okay, there we go. Once they've, yeah, so it's on, sorry. So the temperature is on, when you're cooking Bogoria like this, as soon as you start to put your Bogoria into the oil, what happens is the oil will cools down very, very quickly. So you do need to fluctuate and play around with your temperature. So at the beginning, it was a medium high heat. But as soon as I put these in, I've then turned it back up to full so that it gets back up to temperature. Now, all we want is for our Bogoria to go a lovely golden brown colour. And one thing I would always urge you to do is cook plenty of them, because they will vanish very, very quickly. And it's a great way of getting a little bit of veg into the kids, because they will like these. When we were little, we'd have these with ketchup, and all the grown-ups would have it with chutney. But give this to a little one with some ketchup, that's fine. They taste great. Okay, so I'm just going to let that sizzle. Is everybody still with me who is cooking? How are we doing? Any questions whilst we're on a little bit of a quiet cooking down?
Would you use gram flour?
So Bogoria are made with gram flour. So gram flour is chickpea flour, but it's chickpeas that have been roasted and then blitzed up to make a flour. And it's got quite a unique taste. We use it a lot in Indian cooking. And if you are gluten intolerant, if you are a gluten-free, if you are celiac, gram flour is a great flour for you to use. You can't make, it makes more of a batter than a dough, so you can't use it to essentially make rotis or anything like that. They come out more like pancakes. But here we go. So I'm just going to fish these out now.
What kind of chutney are you going to make?
I'm going to do a mint chutney with it. I'm not sure. I think I might have done this mint chutney with you before. I can't remember. But it's a mint chutney. It's my mum's mint chutney, and it's just the most amazing chutney ever. It's really easy, really simple to make. But right, let me show you what they look like. So, can you see? Yum. So I'm just going to pop that in here, and then I'm going to do... So before I finish those off, I'm now going to just fry my paneer. And be very careful with your paneer, because they can stick to the bottom of the Gari, so we need to do it very, very gently and try and do them individually. So I'm going to start to fry these just very, very gently into the pan. And this is where you get that lovely, crispy, crunchy.
Someone's asked, have you got any advice for making tamarind chutney?
So tamarind chutney, again, another one of my faves. I have got a recipe on the website for it. I would recommend that you go get the blocks of tamarind that you can use. So look, oh. So it's gone nice and golden. Can you see them? I'm just going to let them get a little bit more crispy. They do have a tendency to stick together. But if you go onto the website and have a look, there's a really nice tamarind and date chutney I've got on there. I've also got a cold tamarind chutney that I do on there as well, which is imli, which is probably one of my faves. And that's got carrots and onions and various bits and pieces in there as well. Okay, we're going to let these cook. Now, if you were doing this with chicken, it's exactly the same process. You can just let your chicken coat. Some of these have coated really beautifully, and there's a couple there that haven't. And I think that's because my temperature on my oil wasn't as hot as I would like it. So I'm just going to do the rest of these. So are you guys still with me? Are we all together cooking the same way? so good. It should smell amazing. So all we're going to do is just get a nice sort of coating on these, on the paneer. There we go. I'm trying to do this quickly so I'm not holding your evenings up too much.
Many can't eat cheese products. Can she use from tofu?
Yeah, so absolutely. If you can't have dairy products, then a tofu is absolutely great for this. As I said, yeah, anything like that will work. The firm tofu is better than a softer one because it won't work as well.
Robert says he's still doing his Bogoria.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and finish mine, so don't worry, don't stress. I'm going to put the rest of this batter in as well in case we can use that because it tastes good. Now, if you've made your Bogoria, has anyone tried them yet? I want to know if you had a little taste.
How much longer than paneer does chicken need to cook?
So the paneer, as soon as it's gone golden and crispy on the outside, that's fine because we're going to put it back into our pan with the sauce in there, so it's going to have another chance to cook through. So don't sort of worry that you've got to leave it in there for too long. Okay, just take these out here. Oh. There we go. It's nice and crispy paneer. They do have a tendency, I said, to stick together, so just be a bit mindful of that. Look, yum. They should look a really lovely colour as well, and that's from the chilli that we put in there. Yum, 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 yum. We're nearly there, guys. I hope you are as excited as me. Right, I'm going to finish my Bogoria off as well because I know that some of you are still sort of catching up.
What's your peeling gadget called and where can you buy them?
I think it's just a shredder, that peeling gadget. This one is, I'll show you in a second. I think, if you've heard of OXO, so they are a kitchen brand. I'll have a look at it now and just see if it's got.
Will this dish reheat well?
It will reheat okay. You will lose the crispy crunchiness from the paneer, but it still tastes good. So it is one of those that is best sort of straight out and done and freshly cooked. Right, so that's my Bogoria going in, the last of them. I'm not going to lose any of that batter. So how did so the lady who had already pre-mixed her Bogoria, can you let me know how you're getting on? Because I know that can be a bit of an annoying thing. Right, so whilst those are doing their thing, I'm just going to have a little bit of a clear down because I've ended up in a bit of a mess. I've got flour going everywhere, but that's all good. Yeah, so it's an OXO one. I'm just going to... So if you have a look, so I'll show you. It's basically exactly the same as a peeler, but it's got these little serrated blades, and that's what gives you the strip. So it's a really good little utensil to have. And this is from OXO. So look them up. They are.
So you said Sainsbury's style then?
Ah, well, there you go. See, supermarkets have their own version as well. Okay, my Bogoria are looking good. So has anyone tried the Bogoria yet? I want to know what you think.
I'll try one.
My daughter's in the background saying, I'll try one, I'll try one. Look. So I'm going to just show you. Do you want to zoom in a little bit? So if I show you, really nice and crispy, but... Oh, sorry. There we go. So that's what I mean. It's all about the vegetables. It's not about the batter. Here you go. You can try one. I'm going to have a little nibble. There's just nothing better.
She added
It's
more,
so good.
more potato, corn flour and besan.
Mhm.
And then rescued it.
Oh, I'm so pleased you managed to rescue it. Well done. Okay. Oh, they taste so good.
They're not going to last long.
They are going to vanish like that. Okay. So I'm just going to put my first pan back onto the heat, and I just need these Bogoria to just go nice and golden. So what I should have done is waited for my oil to get hot again. So in between each batch, make sure that your oil is the right temperature. That's why these are taking a bit longer, because I was trying to be quick and rush through, but
She said now she's got too much mixture. I'm going to be frying into the night.
that's okay. Just fry it all away. It'll be lovely. You can freeze these. They freeze really well. Also, you can make... I've got a recipe on the website called Gari, which is an Indian, it's a very classic Punjabi dish, which is a yogurt-based curry. And once you make that curry, you then put these Bogoria into that curry. It's the best thing ever. I can't tell you how much.
Matthew said he's been making the veg pakora recipe, and it's a family favourite. He cooks it once a week for the last month.
Love you. That's brilliant. Good to hear. I just think they're so much nicer than some of the stodgy stuff that you get from restaurants, takeaways and supermarkets that are just really flavourless. They are, the more you do them, the quicker things get, the easier things get. So I just want these to go golden. They're almost there. Right. Okay, so I'm going to move back onto this, my sauce. So into here, what we haven't done yet is put some soy sauce in there. So about a tablespoon of soy sauce needs to go in. And the other thing that you can do with this dish is you can add a little bit of sugar. So you get that sweet chili heat and all of that sort of, that balances out. I'm not going to add any sugar in just because I just don't fancy it today. But I've put my soy in. That will change the colour. It will make it quite dark. I'm going to add a little splash of water as well. And just bring this all up to temperature so it's nice and hot before that paneer goes in. So what you're going to end up with is essentially a Chinese style dish with Indian flavours, and it's going to be immense, is all I'm going to say. And if those of you who haven't tried paneer before are trying it for the first time, I really want to hear what you've got to say about it, because I know for a lot of people they don't like that texture. I love it. It's one of my favourite things, and I will have it with lots of different dishes, in spinach, with peas, all kinds of things. But I'd love to hear, if it's the first time you are having paneer, I'd love to know what your opinion of it is. Okay.
We've got 1,029 people watching at the moment.
So apparently we've got 1,034 people watching right now from across the globe, and that is unbelievable. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for cooking with me. Thank you for enjoying the food. Wow, that's amazing. So that is our biggest live YouTube cook-along Friday night curry ever. Amazing. Thank you, guys. That is insane. And it's just so wonderful to see so many of you and hear that you guys are cooking with me a lot of you are doing it every week. It's amazing. I'm so thrilled. Wow. Okay, right. So my sauce now, I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So it's slightly darker in colour now because we've added the dark soy sauce into there. Yeah. So I'm going to put my paneer in. So the fried paneer, I'm just going to show you one of them. So that's what it looks like. Nice and crispy. And you know what you could do? So what you could do with the paneer, even when it's like this, you could dust it with some amchur or some chaat masala and just have that as a little snack. It's just delicious. So the paneer is going to go into here before I eat it. So just very gently pop that in. And then we're going to coat it with that amazing hot, it's essentially a hot and sour Indian style sauce. Yum, yum, yum. Love it, love it, love it, love it. That's incredible. We've got over 1,000 people.
Up to 71 now.
1,071. It's going up by the minute, guys. If it is your first time, please make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the videos. Drop me a note if there's anything that I can ever help with. I'm always happy to do that. Those of you who know me know that I will always answer questions and everything that I can across all my social media channels, and I will do that.
Is paneer versatile, or do you normally just deep fry it in the batter?
So paneer is quite versatile. If you make it fresh at home, you can almost make a scramble with it, and you can use it almost like scrambled eggs. You can mix it in with all kinds of different spices and cook with it. So you can do lots and lots of different things with it. Okay, so my Bogoria coming out, and I'm just going to pop those to that side. Coming back to this one here, right, mix in your amazing, oh, it smells incredible. Now with this, it is a good idea to just check your seasoning, because you might want to add a little bit of salt to it, but because we've put that soy in there, you might not need it. So it's always a good idea just to, I'm going to add a little bit. Oh, tastes good. Okay, so that is just going to stay warm. Now, just to finish that dish off, I'm just going to pop those over here. Just to finish that dish off, we are just going to get our little garnishes ready. And what we've got here is some fresh coriander and spring onion.
Debbie's serving it tomorrow, so will she need to keep the paneer separate from the sauce until she's
So Debbie, if you are serving it tomorrow, I would recommend that you just keep them separate. And then what I would do is reheat your sauce and then pop them in and just make sure they're nice and hot all the way through before you serve them. But yeah, rather than reheating the whole lot, I think that's a much better way of doing it. But I would say to you, maybe have a little try, see what you think, have a little taste, because I'd love to, one, see your pictures of your dish, but also I would like to hear what you think. So keep those opinions and views coming in. Okay, right.
We've got 1,000 people watching, 1,100.
1,112.
Amazing to have so many of you join. We've got over 1,100 now, which is fabulous. Okay, so we are coming to the end of our Friday night curry club. I'm just going to have a little clear down, move a few things around so that we can share these amazing dishes that we've just put together. Now, is everybody with me? Is everybody with me? Yeah. Have we all got to the point where we're still sort of pretty much there? So there's my garnish. I'm going to leave my paneer just doing its thing, and then I'm going to show you how to do this amazingly fast, super fast chutney. So all I've got in here is mint, fresh mint that I've washed.
I've got someone from Vienna.
And a chilli. I've got an onion and a lemon. So what I'm going to do is just pop that in here, into my blender. I've lost the chilli now. Where's my chilli? Oh, there it is. I found it. So I've got my chilli. Roughly chop that up, pop that into here. Push that down. So I've got my onion. It's only a small onion. You don't want a lot of onion. So one onion goes in. And then what I'm going to do with my lemon is I'm just going to get a quick chopping board out, actually. Pardon? Yeah, I'm leaving that on for a minute. Okay. So with your lemon, just take off the rind. Slice. Get your pips out, if you've got any pips. Pop that in there. I'm going to squish it down to the bottom because I want it to blitz. And then, where's the salt gone? Okay, there we go. A little bit of salt. Very, very important. And then we're just going to blitz that up in there. There we go. Once it's gone, you'll be able to smell it. There we go. And put a little bit more in. Just make sure the onion blitzes up, because if it's quite chunky, you don't really want that. I'm going to add a few more mint leaves. Pass a bowl over that one. Okay, oh, a little bit more. I very rarely use pre-mixed spices, so I'm probably not the right person to ask. So that's what you want. Look, really smooth, bright green, and delicious. I'm going to pop that in here.
Someone's asked, are you from India?
We have this question pretty much every week. So am I from India? My family are from India. I was born and brought up in the UK, in a very Indian household, hence the food that I cook, but I've never lived in India, so this seems to come up every week, doesn't it? Okay, right, so we are pretty much good to go. Just to finish this off, I'm just going to put this here. I'm going to move this to the back. Right, is everyone still with me? So you should be in a place now where you are ready to garnish and finish. So this is my chilli paneer. Looks amazing. Into that, I am going to add some fresh coriander. give that a mix. And then we're going to pop that into our plate. Chillies and all. There we go. Yum. And then you've just got to top that off with the spring onions. Just for a bit of crunch, but also gives it a bit of a bite, and also adds that little bit of that Chinesey flavour or feel to the dish. So that is our chilli paneer, a very classic Indian dish, but actually is very sort of born in the Chinese world. There we go, can we see? Lovely. And then we've got some mint chutney in the middle, and I'm going to add my Pagar to that because, as I said, you've got to have some lovely zingy chutney, and I really want to hear what you guys think about this chutney because it's so fresh and zingy. It's like an Indian mojito without the rum, but it's delicious. So there you go. We've got our Bogoria with a fresh mint chutney. Can you see? There you go. Really nice and crispy and yummy. And hopefully, I did show you the inside. I just want to show you very quickly. That's what it should look like. Really crisp. But it's all about those veg inside. Yum. And a zingy mint chutney, and then we've got our paneer, our chilli, whoops, wrong way, there we go, our chilli paneer, or chicken if that's what you've done with it, but there you go. So thank you for joining tonight. It's been our biggest ever Friday Night Curry Club, with well over 1,000 people joining and watching, and a good fair few of you cooking, so thank you for joining me. As always, I'm just going to ask you to give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. We will be cooking again next week, so please join me at 6:15 next Friday for the Friday Night Curry Club. I will let you know what we're cooking on Wednesday. We're probably going to go for a nice meat dish next week because I think there'll be a few people who are wanting a meat dish because we haven't, well, we've had a vegetarian week. If you have taken pictures, please share them with me on Instagram, share them with me on Facebook, and where else? Twitter. I'm on everything, so just send me your pictures. Let me know how you got on. Let me know what you thought of the recipe. Oh yeah, and this week I'm doing a little charity thing on Twitter where I'm going up against a whole array of other chefs. And it's all to raise money for a charity called Rackets Cubed, and it's about getting kids the right sort of nutrition and food, and creating food boxes for various communities across the UK. And I'm going up against another chef with one of my dishes, so the more votes I get, the more likely I am to win. So please do get yourself over to Twitter and vote for me, and I will be playing my Wimbledon match on the 8th. Is it the 8th? The 8th of July. So on the 8th, make sure you vote for me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for cooking, and share your pictures with me. But there you go. Another Friday Night Curry Club done. You have a great weekend, and I will see you soon. Take care.